This is Sandy McManus with needsaribbon.com, and thank you for joining me on Coffee Break. If you know anything about me, I like my coffee. I don't drink a lot of it, but I like the idea of taking a coffee break or going for a coffee talk. So thank you. Let me put my coffee aside. Today, we are going to make this card during our coffee break. And most of the products are using the Ornate Garden Suite in page 64 of the annual catalog, this annual catalog. So it'd be the 2020-21 annual catalog. And it's on page 64. And it is one of these product suites that contains at least 6 products. And we have 2 stamp sets. It's a super suite, if I believe. Yes, it is this mega suite, as they call it. So it contains 2 stamp sets, 2 sets of dies, if you want to buy the whole suite with the 1 item number code. 2 sets of dies. It contains some designer series paper that's specialty, and I'll explain in a minute. Some gilded gems, which we have here, and they have kind of a raised look. They're faceted gilded metal. I think they're actually plastic, but they feel kind of metally. And then some ribbon and some other stuff. So let's get started. So to come up with this card, I love this paper. I'm not normally a big floral person, but something about the daisy-like look of the paper and stuff called to me. And let me just show you a little bit about the paper, because the point of this, so this is what makes it special. We have the gold foil elements on the back side or the front side, depending on how you look at it. I've already used quite a bit of this paper. So, and the gold and white. Yeah, like I said, I've used up quite a bit of this paper. So the designer series paper for this is this. And it came from this Ornate Garden Specialty Designer Series paper. And even though the gold is in the paper, I did not use the gold foil specialty part. I just used this, and I used our new brass foil paper, which is cardstock. Sorry about the noise, but check that out. It is very brass, and it is much shinier. You probably can see, you can probably see my phone reflected in it even, my camera. Much shinier than some of our foils. I think it's beautiful. And it doesn't seem to hold fingerprints as well as some of our other foil papers, which is a problem for me because I tend to touch and all of that. Okay, I think we need to just get started on the card. The recipe for the card will be posted at the end of the video. So if you want to make this card, you can pause it and to get the dimensions and the supply list and all of that. I did not use the stamp set that is in the suite for this. I chose to do something else. I'm using our So Sentimental cling stamp set that is also new. And I used Your Friendship is a Blessing. Or Friendship is a Blessing. Let's get that mounted. And put that aside, and I used terracotta tile. Oh, I forgot to mention the colors in the suite. I'm gonna have to do this from memory now because I put it aside. It's our new Bumblebee, terracotta tile, soft suede, Parapassaz, white, gold, and some other miscellaneous colors. Look it up. It's on page 64 through 66, 67 of the catalog. So let's get started. So I pre-cut to make this fit into the time length of a coffee break, which is 15 minutes. I pre-cut my cardstock. So I have a standard card base, and I brought this, even though this paper, this is terracotta tile. I wanted to remind, I'm going to keep doing this, remind people don't waste your cardstock. This terracotta tile layer, you don't see the middle of this. So by all means, go in, punch out, make sure you're getting far enough away from the edge, which I better not on that. I could down here. Nah, it's still risky because I have a pretty wide border there. But you know what I mean? Get in there and punch some stuff out. Even if you pick a shape, pick a punch, you may use it later. So that was my reminder to do that. Okay. And then, so I used this folder, this Ornate folder in the Ornate Flowers, which is also in the Ornate Garden Suite. I use that. That is one of our 3D folders, so it is much thicker. Embossing folders. And did that in Honeybee. Excuse me, Bumblebee. I'm going to call it Honeybee. It's just Bumblebee, Honeybee. I keep calling it Honeybee, even though I know it's Bumblebee. Okay, and that's probably going to leak through, but that's okay. We're going to put that on there. And then we're going to go ahead and layer this up. And again, the measurements, the recipe will be at the end of the video. So be sure and pause and take a look at that if you're interested in recreating this card on your next coffee break. And I used just a tiny little 1/4 inch piece of this gold foil. I'm sorry, brass foil. And I just use it. Honestly, does not. And this is a fresh bottle of glue. Does not take much to hold something this small on, because you don't want your glue oozing out. So I put that on next, and it runs the entire length of the Bumblebee paper. Squish that on. Make sure it stays. And then here is my piece. And this particular paper does have a mild direction. I noticed when I was cutting it up, because I actually did this for a swap. Let's bring the card back over here so you can see it. It does have a mild direction if you notice. It looks kind of upside down. So it does have, pay attention when you're putting your cards together to a pattern direction. And cinch that up to your brass foil. But anyway, yeah, getting back to, I've already covered it. So the 2 flowers that I punched out of that layer, we're actually going to use for the card. And the center here, this is a retired, Stampin' Up retired quite a few of our circle punches. Sadly, I am still using it though. I'm sorry. 1/2 inch circle punch to get the flower center out of, goodness, Poozy. Thought I brought scissors. Oh, that's okay. For our flower center, and so we're going to go ahead and assemble our flower. Actually, I'm going to give a little shape to that first with a bone folder. Just to give it a little dimension, even though if you mail it to someone, it will flatten out. It still retains a little bit of that dimension. So we're just going to put a little glue there and offset our 2 pieces to make it a fairly full flower. Not worried about the glue in the middle because our little center will cover that up. And I think I'm done with the glue. And and we need to stamp our greeting. So I'm going to go ahead and put a dimensional on the back of that right away before I forget. This aside, and I pre-cut a bunch of these. This is using our Stitched So Sweetly dies that are new. And I used this one, which, as you can see, cuts out the scalloped outside and it stitches around the inside to make a nice frame. So that is the one I used from the Stitch So Sweetly dies. Obviously I cut out a lot of them. And I'm going to use my terracotta tile ink. And I could use a Stamparatus if I was really concerned about it fitting on there. But I can see from my sticker picture guide where I am. There we go. Always a little nerve-wracking to do it on camera in case you mess up. That's why I have a lot of them. Put that aside. We'll let that dry a minute. And that goes on also with dimensionals. We'll use 4 to pop that up a little bit. So it's a very dimensional card. Peel the backing off of those. And I think I basically just centered it to the card, up about an inch-ish from the bottom. We'll put that on there. And I have an open pack in the back here, so we're just going to use one of those. God, I really miss. I grabbed my scissors and I don't know where I put them. But we'll just put that on there. And there, in cheers. In under the time of a coffee break, I got a card made. I am so excited. Thank you for joining me for your coffee break. See you soon.